What is going on, everybody? It is Big L here, and today we are bringing you our season recap of the YCL VGC League, and I'm recording this the day after the finals, and as you know, we got our first championship dub. So if you're new, if you're from the YCL, I do this every season. Ever since I started doing content creation over in my main league, which is WPF. I do this every season. Kind of like I just sort of run down through the team, kind of what I thought about the team, what I thought about each Mon individually, how I think that Mon kind of fit the team. And so yeah, it should be pretty fun. I always enjoy doing it. And yeah, so without further, and it's an excuse to use that sick intro and these really nice layouts that Sen made again. So shout outs to Sen, first of all, for making these layouts and making that intro. It's fantastic. Thank you very much for making it. So without further ado, let's get into the team. You see, first, Calyrex Shadow. What is there to say about this Pokemon other than it is absolutely broken? That Pokemon is busted. It led the league in kills, was it's just an absolute joy to use. I used it a bunch of different ways this season. Scarf once, front specs, Life Orb, Expert Belt. I think in the finals he brought Spell Tag because Spooky Plate's not in Sword and Shield. Just a lot of different ways you can run it. And like I said whenever I initially drafted it, was like, you get the upside to Spectrier with the speed, but you don't get the downside to Spectrier, which is, you get access to Calyrex's move pool. So it's really, really nice. Fantastic. Great Pokemon. 10 out of 10. We'll use it again. If it's allowed in VGC drafts, it shouldn't fall past the first 1 or 2 picks. Like, in my opinion, after seeing this in action in draft, there's no reason the first 2 picks in any VGC draft shouldn't be this and Kyogre. I legitimately think that Calyrex Shadow and Kyogre are the 2 most broken Pokemon you can have in VGC draft. This is my opinion after being around, seeing a VGC draft. And then next up we have Indeedee Female. I still cannot believe that thing fell to me in the second round. It came to literally every single game of every match. It does one job. Well, 2 jobs, I guess. It sets terrain, and it just clicks support moves. That's all it does. I think it got a handful of kills this season because sometimes it's like you don't really need the support option. You can just kind of click Expanding Force and do really good damage because Expanding Force is just that powerful of a move. A Pokemon like Indeedee that isn't super weak on the in special attack, but it's not exactly overly powerful in special attack. But like I said, it gets to set its own terrain, and it gets a move like Expanding Force, which is just really, really busted in VGC. But between being able to have Helping Hand and Follow Me support and block all priority, it just takes a lot of little things that it makes it so you don't have to think about them, which is really, really, really nice. Next up was Terracion. Terracion I initially took as a dark resist, because like my first 2 bonds were like really dark weak, and I didn't really use it much during the meat of the season. I think I used it a lot. I think after 3 weeks or so, it was like one of the kill leaders in the league, and then I just kind of had some bad matchups with it. It's like I played Furret, and it's got a bad matchup against Furret's Ogre team. And then there were some games that I brought it and it just never came to a game. I brought it to my 6 and it just never came to a game. But you know, it put in work. It won me one of the finals games. It put in a lot of work against Gambit in game 1 of the finals. And, you know, Rock Slide, Stab Rock Slide puts on a lot of pressure. It's super fast. And I think it's one of those Pokemon that could be one of those Pokemon that is a lot better in draft than it is on ladder. In a meta where, you know, you're going to see Zacian, you're going to see Kyogre, you're going to see Groudon on like every single team. It's hard to bring it. You can't really bring it on ladder. But in draft, where there's only one Kyogre, where there's only one Groudon, where there's only one Zacian, you know, it's a lot more doable. A lot easier to bring that Pokemon. So I do think that in VGC draft, Terracion has played because it's got, like I said, it's got very good speed, very good attack. I think it's one of those Pokemon that could be a sleeper pick in draft in VGC. Like I said, just one of those Pokemon that's just better in draft than it is on the ladder. The next up was Milotic. This is my first time ever using a Milotic in competitive. And I thought it was great. I never did get to bring the Coil Hypnosis set. I never did get to bring that. But I did get to do the thing Owls wanted me to do whenever he saw I drafted it, which was bring offensive, you know. We did get to pull off the Adrenaline Orb competitive set, which was pretty cool. But most weeks, this was just really offensive. I mean, really defensive. With Icy Wind and Scald to just kind of put pressure on our opponents to slow them down. And I really enjoyed it. And it makes people prep. It makes people have to think twice before bringing, you know, things like Snarl, which again, as you can see, for Calyrex and Indeedee, you know, they don't like to be snarled. So, you know, being able to make someone have to think twice about bringing that is really nice. And I think it fit the team really well. Now, there were some games, specifically whenever I had to prep for Furret's Kyogre team, and I believe it was Southside originally. I can't remember who took over for Southside. Was it Prater who took over the Urshifu Palkia team? Like, there were times I was prepping for teams like that, I was like, you know, damn, I wish I had taken the Gastrodon instead of Milotic. But I think overall Milotic fit this team better. And I really enjoyed using it. And 10 out of 10 would draft again. And then next up we have Arcanine. Arcanine, I love Arcanine so much. Like, it's such a good Pokemon. Like I said, it was Incineroar before Incineroar. You know, it's a bulky fire type. And I understand why Incineroar is better in the format. You know, Arcanine doesn't get Fake Out. Arcanine doesn't get Parting Shot, you know. But it does get Intimidate. It does get Snarl. It does get Will-O-Wisp, obviously, as a fire type. And unlike Incineroar, Arcanine resists Fairy. It's not just a neutral hit from Fairy. And it's not weak to fighting. So, there are some upsides to Arcanine over Incineroar. I mean, I understand Incineroar is better overall for the format. But Arcanine's very good. I used it in Collinsville. Hashtag last regional ever. I used it in Collinsville, and it put in a lot of work for me. It's just a great Pokemon overall. I didn't get to bring it offensive. I was hoping to bring it offensive once or twice this season, but it's so good at being able to just cripple your opponent's threats. It's so good at that. It's hard to want to bring it any other way. Like, if I had, maybe, like I said, if maybe I had a really good matchup, like, for example, with the Milotic, I had a matchup that I saw the opportunity to bring it offensive, and I did it. And it was fun. It was great. I never saw that matchup with Arcanine. So, as much as it sucks, I'm just like, yeah, I would have loved to have brought it, you know, a variety of different ways. It's so good at doing the job it does well in VGC, it's hard to justify bringing it another way. It's just one of those Pokemon, it's hard to justify it. I mean, we're never in a position where we could meme either, which you always kind of hope to maybe be able to pull off late in the season, but, you know, we were still trying to jockey for position in the playoffs late in the season, and, you know, we were playing some other people who were, you know, trying to fight for a playoff spot, and I don't, unless both teams have nothing to play for, I think it's wrong to kind of meme in a draft league game. But anyway, moving on to the next Pokemon, Obstagoon. Obstagoon, I unfortunately only brought to 2 matches that only saw action in 2 games. I wanted to use it more. It's such a good Pokemon, so cool. I feel like when I would do calcs with it, it was always just like this close to being doing what I wanted it to do. You know what that mean? You know what I mean? So it didn't come as often as I would have liked. It was another Pokemon. I considered bringing it as my 6th in the finals. I considered it bringing it against Furret in the semis. But like I said, it's just one of those Pokemon. Like it's always this close to doing the job I wanted it to do. So it just could never quite do the job I wanted it to do. It did get a KO in one of the games I brought it, so I did get to accomplish in the finals. I said in the finals video that every Pokemon on this team got at least 1 KO, and that is something I try to do whenever I draft. I try to get every Pokemon on my team at least 1 KO. So that way, I can say every Mon on this team, whether... And I understand that it's not every Mon's job to get kills. I understand that 100%. And Indeedee died way more than it got kills, but it did its job. It did its job a lot. But it's just that way I can look at the stats page and I can say, I got some offense out of every Pokemon on my team. And I think it's pretty cool. We did get a kill against Bonsai in our Week 9 game. And I thought Obstagoon was really, really good in that matchup. But I really wanted to use it more, but I didn't really have the opportunities, and I would definitely draft it again because I do think it's a really cool Pokemon, and I do want to bring it. I really do want to try to make it work. I really want to use it. But I don't know if it was just the team around it was so strong or what. I just couldn't really find opportunities to bring it in this season, which is too bad because I do want to use it. Moving on, we have Alcremy. Alcremy, I mean, it's Alcremy. I mean, there's not really much else to say about it. Decorate Tech has potential, I think, especially since it can go through Protect. But other than that, I don't really see the utility this Mon can give you in VGC. Would I draft? I mean, I probably wouldn't go into a draft planning on drafting. I didn't plan on drafting it in this. But would I say it's like a waste of a slot? Not really. There's no job I feel like it does that other Mons can't just, like other Mons don't just do better. And like I'm not necessarily even meaning like, oh, it's not as good an offensive fairy as like Tapu Lele or something like that. I just mean like as far as like Mons in its tier. There's nothing it does that it just stands out. And that's fine. Like, not all Mons need to be like that. I don't know. Would I draft Indeedee again? I don't know, maybe. Maybe not. If it fit on the right team, maybe. I mean, it fit on this team pretty well, but it wasn't. Because I think it came to 2 games all season. I think I brought it to 3 matches. I don't remember. But moving on, we'll move on from Indeedee, and we will go to Escavaleer. Now, Escavaleer was the Pokemon on this team that I had little to no expectations for. But as the season went on, it became a Pokemon I found myself wanting to bring every single week. With little to no investment, it still puts on some good offensive pressure. And, things like Knockoff. Knockoff, I've said this in a lot of videos. I feel like Knockoff is a very underappreciated VGC. Especially if you're playing in a best of 3, because you get, even if you don't claim a KO, or even if it may not be the best move, you can still get information. And information is very, very important in a best of 3. But I feel like Escavalier on this team was just that Pokemon that seems to happen. I don't know if it just happens to me a lot, but if it just happens to everybody a lot, But I feel like what happens with me is every draft that I have a Pokemon that I take that I don't really expect anything from, and it ends up becoming one of my favorite Pokemon on the team. That was Escavaleer for this team. I had little to no expectations whenever I dropped the what's it called? Oh, the big elephant thing. Copperaja, good lord. When I dropped Copperaja and picked it up, I was like, it's better than Copperaja. That's all I thought. And it ended up, like I said, it ended up becoming one of my favorite Pokemon on this team, absolutely. And so, I love Escavalier. I would 1000% draft Escavalier again. If nothing else, it's a great Trick Room deterrent, which is why I wanted it. It's strong, great Trick Room deterrent, fantastic Assault Vest user. Fantastic Assault Vest user. Because a lot of time you don't really want to just bring 3 attacks with it. A lot of times you want 4 attacks. And if someone's not bringing a fire move, nothing really hits it super hard. So, really, really strong. I really enjoyed it. And I expected very little out of it when I took it, and it is now one of my favorite draft Pokemon of this team, absolutely. So moving on to Alolan Exeggutor, another Pokemon that we actually got some use out of, that I was not expecting. It actually made a thumbnail one week, which was fantastic. It was one of my favorite thumbnails I've ever made, actually. I could not believe I found that image of like an Alolan Exeggutor. It was like the Death Star beams. It was fantastic. I don't know what I think about Alolan Exeggutor. Grass and Dragon is a pretty interesting typing. It can function in Trick Room pretty well. I feel like it suffers from the same thing as Obstagoon, only with a better typing. Whereas I feel like it's always just this close to being able to do what I wanted it to do. But I got use out of it, which is really cool. I think I brought it to a handful of games. And I've always been an advocate for low tier dragons. I've always liked low tier dragons. Dragons like Drudigan, dragons like Drampa. I think Drampa is pretty cool. But yeah, I've always been a fan of the lower tier dragons, not the high end dragons. The high end dragons are really, really powerful, great. But I've always been an advocate for you don't need. I feel like if you're gonna draft a high end, if you're like I feel like of the Fairy Dragon Steel Core Mons, I feel like getting a good steel and a good fairy are much more important than getting a strong dragon. Personally, I also think that drafting roles is more important than drafting types. Now, yeah, drafting types is important. That's a different topic for a different day. That's not a topic for this video. But again, I think Alolan Exeggutor was pretty cool. Did its job. I'd draft it again. I think it's pretty cool. I'd like to try it in singles maybe. But yeah, Harvest and again Frisk. Frisk is arguably one of the top 2 abilities in VGC, especially in a best of 3. Being able to see half of your opponent's held items for the game right at the beginning, that's a crazy amount of information to just be given to you. And that alone makes it worth it to bring it to a game. Moving on is Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl was pretty cool. It blessed me with hitting a rock slide on Weavile in the semifinals against Furret in Game 2. That was its first and only kill of the season too, because before then I don't think it had a kill. But great. It was pretty cool. I don't know if how much I like it in VGC. Something that frail that doesn't necessarily hit super hard isn't really something that strikes me as overly useful in VGC, but it was fine. Whenever I brought it, it seemed to fill the role I wanted it to fill. I never brought it and felt like it was a wasted Pokemon. So I mean, it is what it is. I think it has definite play in singles, But I don't know about VGC. And wide guard is nice, but I don't think I ever clicked it. I might have clicked it once in the semifinals against Furret. Maybe I clicked it once in that match. But it's got a good speed tier. It's a good tailwind setter. Like I said, wide guard is nice. And being able to spamming rock slide in VGC is always nice. But moving on from Aerodactyl, we have the flattest of boys himself, and that is Stunfisk. Stunfisk came against Kiwi. That is it. He came against the team that has all the electric types. And I'm not gonna lie, there were a lot of games this season where I was like, man, I wish my electric type wasn't weak to water. But Pikachu got sniped from me late because I did want Lightning Rod. But Stunfisk, when I calced to bring it, I was pretty impressed. I didn't think it was bad-ish when I brought it, calced with it. I literally only calced with it for Kiwi. Like, there was no other game where I thought maybe Stunfisk could be good here. Like, that was it. I was just like, oh, this guy's got Coco Alolachu. I gotta bring my electric type. I gotta bring my ground type against this guy. But Stunfisk got a kill. Stunfisk got a kill this season, which is fantastic. But overall, I don't know. Maybe Stunfisk could fill a hole on a team like this and maybe come once or twice. It's not a mon I would necessarily recommend. It's not a mon I would necessarily say, oh, you're wasting a spot by having it. Just because, it's a ground type. Ground types are really good. But, yeah, that'll do it. That's the whole team. Overall, the only mons on this team I would say I would probably not really be interested in trying again would probably be Alcremy and Stunfisk. Like, aside from those two, I think every mon on this team has play in VGC. Absolutely has play. Obviously, Calyrex. Calyrex is absolutely broken. Indeedee is one of the best support mons in the format. Terracion, I think it's one of those Pokemon that it could be very good in draft that is not good on ladder at all. Milotic, obviously very versatile, can be Marvel scale and super bulky, can be competitive and offensive potentially. Arcanine is your discount Incineroar. Obstagoon, really close to being really good. I think it's a little far off, but good abilities to back it up and make it a little bit better. Escavaleer, fantastic Pokemon, I absolutely love it. 10 out of 10 would draft again. Exeggutor has a role it can fill, and it can be very good in that role. Same with Aerodactyl. I can see its use absolutely in VGC. Every time I brought it, it did its job. And then, of course, Stunfisk and Alcremy, I don't know if I'd ever use them again in draft. I think Alcremy could be good in singles, potentially, if you get it in the right spot and try to set up with it, maybe. But, that'll do it for us today. That'll do it for the YCL VGC season. Thank you guys very much for watching me this season. Thank you very much to the YCL again for having me, to Rager, Bonsai, and Tiger VGC for putting the league together. Thank you to all the coaches in the league who were really a pleasure to work with. Every single person that I played this season, you made scheduling super easy. Getting together with you was not difficult. I never had any problem getting together with anybody. And you guys were just a really, really chill group. And I really, really hope we decide to do it again. I'd love to have a season 2 with you guys. There's a lot of talent in the YCL. There's a lot of talent. I know it's mostly singles guys. I know that this is a lot of guys, their first kind of experience with VGC and the doubles. Whereas, like I've said for a while that I feel like I'm a better VGC player than I'm a singles player. I'm sure if I played in the singles league if I played in the big YCL against those guys, I'd get my ass stomped. But again, the YCL server is super chill server. You guys were very, very welcoming to me. being a new guy who didn't really know anyone in there. So thank you guys for being, just really welcoming and really, really chill. Thank you again to Sen for making these layouts, these logos, that intro, all that cool stuff. Thank you very much to him for that. And thank you guys very much for watching. Shout outs again to T4U especially, because dude, you helped me out every single week. And if I didn't have you helping me prep, I wouldn't have even come close to winning this thing. And shout out to Bucks for helping me build a lot of the season. Shout out to TRT for helping me when you can, and shout out to Big Shane for helping me when you can. I know you guys have both been really, really busy. TRT trying to, working on being a doctor and shit, and Big Shane trying to take over the personal trainer scene in Nashville. We're working your 80-hour weeks, and but thank you guys so much. Seriously, everybody who helped me, everybody in the YCL for being just really, really chill, being really inviting, really supportive of everyone's content over there. Really, really chill server. And I will have links, again, for the last time I'll be saying this, I will have links down below to all the content creators in the YCL who are in the YCL VGC League. If you're following me and you're not following them, I don't know what you're doing, because they all make better content than me, every single one of them. So go down there, go subscribe to them. Really, really chill dudes. And until hopefully next season, this is your YCL VGC Season 1 champion, Big L, signing off. Have a good one.